The movie begins with David, Quinn, and Adam, three high school friends who have worked together to create a special drone for David's science project. The drone can be controlled not just with a remote, but also with hand movements, which makes it even cooler. David's sister, Christina, is recording them as they fly the drone, capturing the moment with her camera. Suddenly, David's phone rings, and while he answers it, he loses control of the drone, which ends up crashing to the ground. David is an exceptionally bright student, and he dreams of studying at Amity University. To increase his chances of getting in, he decides to send the footage Christina filmed to the university's admissions committee. After waiting anxiously for a few days, David finally receives an acceptance letter from Amity University. However, there's one big problem. David's family doesn't have enough money to pay for the expensive tuition fees. David's mother, determined to support his dreams, decides to sell their house so she can pay the fees for him. But David is upset by this decision. He tries to convince his mother that he doesn't want to lose the house, as it's the last piece of memory he has of his late father, who died in a car crash when David was only 7 years old. Meanwhile, David and Christina are going through some old belongings in their house when they come across an old camera that once belonged to their father. Curiously, they decide to see what's on it and connect it to their laptops. To their surprise, the camera contains a recording of David's 7th birthday, a memory from long ago. As they begin watching the footage together, David notices something strange. In the video, there's not only a 7-year-old version of himself, as expected, but also a younger version of him alongside his current self, his present-day version. The strangest part is that David can clearly see himself in the footage, standing in front of a mirror just like he is now. Confused and startled by this bizarre discovery, David immediately calls Quinn and Adam to come over to his house and take a look at the footage. When they see it, they're just as shocked and puzzled as David. At first, they try to dismiss it, assuming that someone must have edited the footage or photoshopped the images. However, when David points out that he's wearing the exact same clothes in the video as he is right now, the reality of the situation starts to sink in. This can't just be a coincidence. David then recalls that his father was a scientist and had a lab in the basement of their house, where they kept many of their personal belongings. He believes that there might be some clues down there that could help explain what's going on. With a sense of urgency, the group heads to the basement, where they find themselves standing in front of his father's old lab, unsure of what they'll uncover, but certain that it's the key to understanding the strange footage. David's father, who had been a scientist working for the U.S. Army, had not visited his lab since he left it behind. Now, as David, Christina, Quinn, and Adam explore the basement, they stumble upon something unexpected, a trapdoor hidden in the floor. Intrigued, they open it and discover a box beneath the floorboards. Inside the box, they find a small, mysterious machine, along with a set of detailed blueprints. As they study the blueprints closely, it becomes clear that David's father had been working on something groundbreaking, a project called Almanac, a classified army project. Upon further inspection, they realize that the blueprints are for a time machine. Excited and awestruck by their discovery, Adam and Quinn immediately suggest that they build the time machine. They argue that it could be their chance to travel back in time, especially for David to revisit his 7th birthday. They tell him that if they don't build the time machine, he'll never be able to change the past, particularly the strange events that have been happening to him. Most importantly, Adam and Quinn remind David that he could meet his father again, something he has always wanted since his father's death. After much convincing, David hesitantly agrees to go ahead with the plan. He realizes that if he wants to understand the bizarre footage and the strange occurrence with his younger self, he needs to take this leap. Together, the group makes a pact to finish the time machine, using the blueprints as their guide. They buy all the necessary parts and begin their work. After several attempts, they finally manage to create an electromagnetic field, something they didn't expect to happen so soon. As soon as the machine activates, a surge of energy flows through it, causing all the light bulbs on the nearby table to flicker and light up. The power surges are so intense that the batteries they had set up begin to overheat one by one and explode, sending sparks and debris flying across the room. David decides to use the graphics processor from his expo to design a navigation program for the time machine. This program will allow them to precisely control the machine's movements through time, giving them the ability to navigate it the way they want. Meanwhile, Adam connects his phone to the time machine, using it as a remote control to manage the machine's operations directly from his phone. With their new additions in place, the group begins preparing for the second attempt. David explains to everyone that the time machine is currently only capable of traveling back 6 weeks, but in order to successfully complete their mission, they'll need to split the power of the time machine. This way, they can travel back for just 3 weeks and still have enough energy to return to the present. The plan is to balance the power so that they can navigate both the past and present in a short window of time. Once the machine is ready, they power it up again. As soon as the time machine starts, a surge of electromagnetic energy bursts from it. The surrounding space begins to warp, and all the objects in the room start spinning rapidly in the air. The air is filled with static and energy, and it seems like they're close to a breakthrough. However, just as things seem to be working, the battery overloads, causing another massive explosion. The force of the blast sends a glass of water flying, and it spills onto David, leaving a noticeable mark on his t-shirt. Suddenly, David freezes, remembering something important. He recalls that in the footage of his 7th birthday, he had worn a t-shirt with a similar mark on it. This realization sends a wave of confusion and excitement through the group. They begin to speculate that they are getting closer to successfully creating the time machine, and that the strange occurrences they've experienced might actually be a result of their actions. After their second failed attempt, David comes to a crucial realization. In order to make the time machine work properly, they'll need a much more powerful energy source, fusion power. The only way to achieve this is by using hydrogen, but hydrogen can only be purchased with a special permit, something they obviously don't have. However, they quickly remember that there is a hydrogen cylinder stored at their school. Seizing the opportunity, David, Quinn, and Adam make a plan to break into the school and steal the hydrogen capsule. Late that night, they sneak into their school, carefully avoiding any security, and manage to steal the hydrogen cylinder. Once back in the basement, they start setting up the time machine again. This time, they decide to test the machine by placing a camera in a small toy car, hoping to send it into the past and observe the results. But as they power up the machine again, the energy surges out of control, causing another explosion from the battery. The frustration grows, but David suddenly notices something that catches his attention. Through the window, he sees Jessie, one of his classmates from school, walking outside. David has had a crush on her for a while, and today she's heading toward her car to attend a nearby party. The group sees an opportunity to get the power they need, so they come up with a daring plan. They wait for Jessie to leave for the party, and as soon as she's gone, they break into her car and steal the battery. They bring the battery back to the basement, ready to use it for the time machine. Just as they are about to begin, Jessie unexpectedly shows up at the house. She is shocked to see all the strange equipment and the chaotic scene inside the basement, with things floating in the air due to the electromagnetic energy from the machine. Jessie demands to know what's going on, and David tries to explain, though it's clear she's confused and startled. Despite the interruption, the group moves forward with their plan. This time, they activate the time machine and send the toy car into the past. To their surprise, the machine works, successfully sending the toy car back. In that instant, the power goes out across the entire city, but only for a brief moment. The lights flicker back on quickly, and the group rushes to check the results of the experiment. They find the toy car stuck in the ceiling, where it had seemingly stopped. When they review the footage from the camera, they discover that the car had traveled 2 hours into the past. This marks their first successful test of the time machine. Jessie, now fully aware of what they've been doing, is both amazed and slightly worried. She realizes that David and his friends are onto something big, and she's forced to accept their involvement in the project. Jessie suggests an idea that excites the group. Instead of sending just objects back in time, why not go themselves? At first, David hesitates, thinking it's too risky. He worries about the consequences, but after everyone else urges him to give it a try, he finally agrees. So late one night, David, Christina, Quinn, Adam, and Jessie gather together and prepare to travel back in time by one day. When they activate the time machine, they find themselves in the past. To test whether they've really traveled back, they decide to go to Quinn's house. Once there, David has an idea. He draws a smiley face on the wall to leave a mark, so they can know if this is really the past. But just as Quinn opens her eyes, something strange happens. Now, there are 2 Quinns in the same place at the same time, one from the present and one from the past. The 2 Quinns start to panic as they begin to fade and disappear. The rest of the group realizes that people from different points in time cannot exist together in the same timeline. In a hurry, they all decide to return to the present. Once back, they realize something important. Their time travel experiment was a success, but there are rules. Any person from the future or present cannot meet their past self, or they will vanish. This discovery both thrills and alarms the group, but for now, they're excited to have made it work. Afterward, the group starts to think about all the possibilities their time machine offers. Quinn, who had failed his Viva test in the past, decides to use the machine to travel back and retake the test over and over until he passes. Christina, on the other hand, uses the time machine to get revenge on a girl named Sarah who had bullied her at school, time traveling to different moments to confront her. Adam decides to take a risk and use the time machine to go back and win a lottery that had already happened. He ends up winning $1.2 million. The group decides to share the money, dividing it up among themselves, and each of them buys the things they've always wanted. David decides to give most of the money he won to his mother, but keeps a little for himself. himself. He uses his share to buy a sports car and some powerful batteries that can increase the time machine's capacity, allowing them to travel further back in time. For the next few days, they continue experimenting with the time machine, having fun with their new abilities. One day, David calls everyone together after skipping class and tells them they now have batteries powerful enough to travel back 3 months. They decide to test it, so they all go back to the past and end up at a party. They have a great time, but during the party, Jessie opens up to David about her feelings for him. David, distracted by the fun, doesn't really understand what she's saying. Frustrated, Jessie gets angry and leaves the party. Once they return to the present, David realizes his mistake. He feels guilty for not paying attention to Jessie's feelings, so he decides to go back alone in time to the same party. When he sees Jessie again and she shares her feelings, this time David listens carefully. He kisses her and expresses his feelings too. When he returns to the present, he's surprised to find that he and Jessie are now a couple. The change they made in the past has affected their present, and they are together now because of it. However, David and his friends have traveled so many times and changed things in the past that the effects, or ripple effects, start to show in their lives. The ripple effect means that when something is changed in the past, it slowly changes the present as well. As David and his friends continue traveling back in time and making changes to the past, the ripple effects start to have a bigger impact on the present. In the first timeline, Jessie got angry and left the party, which meant she and David didn't become a couple. However, when David went back in time to fix their relationship, they started dating. This caused a change in the timeline. Over time, David and his friends made so many changes that the present timeline started shifting drastically. These ripple effects didn't just affect David and his friends, they began to impact everyone around them. For example, a boy named Justin, who is the captain of the basketball team at David's school, gets into a car accident, and as a result, his team loses the game. Also, Sarah, the girl who used to bully Christina, is affected because her brother plays on Justin's team. In the original timeline, Sarah's father, who is a commercial pilot, would have been at the game, but because of the timeline